Welcome all to the SmackDown review for March 1st, 2024. Tonight was definitely must-watch from the get-go. Tonight's SmackDown needed to deliver with a lot of hype it had. It's selling out attendance right away with The Rock being on. He'll be on March 8th, March 15th, the next 2 weeks. Will Cody be on this show? That was all that we had in my mind going into tonight. So let's get this SmackDown kicked off. I'm Brett Mixer Madness. We open up this night, highly anticipated episode of SmackDown on the 1st of March 2024 from the Glendale, Arizona arena. The arena is jam-packed and ready for The Rock, and we know he's going to show up. We first see to open the show an Elimination Chamber highlight from the Desert Diamond Arena and they show Elimination Chamber highlights as, of course, this is the first SmackDown after the Chamber, but being that both Chamber winners were on Raw, it's less likely to impact the show. Corey Graves on the outside welcomed us to the Desert Diamond Arena. It's still daylight out for this show as we open it up in the desert. We get the Bloodline off the get-go, which means we start off big. No sign of The Rock when the four come out, as they want to get people settled in first. That's their trick. Whenever The Rock or Stone Cold comes on, they get people settled in for the segment first so people can... Well, it used to be they used to call up their friends, but now they just text or they write on social media or they send them an Instagram message or whatever. They tweet about it. They do their thing to get people watching that weren't watching from the get-go. Reigns comes out, his sweater reads levels above. I thought that's kind of interesting. His entrance takes a lot of time, as does the Chamber highlights, so it's 10 minutes after the hour, 10 minutes after the top of the hour, and we still haven't got a word out of this promo yet. It's just Roman Reigns with the Bloodline, not The Rock yet, just Roman Reigns and the Bloodline standing in the ring, and eventually he lets out a Glendale, Arizona, acknowledge me. Mixed reaction. Now he tries it again and says Phoenix, Arizona, acknowledge me. And that gets a better pop for whatever reason. Reigns says it must be the crowd, it's not him. And he says he's going to try it one more time, and then he's leaving if not. And he goes, Glendale, Arizona, acknowledge me. And then it gets the loudest reaction of the three. Roman says this appearance is done. Fire up the jet. We got to go. And Heyman, cautiously interrupting his tribal chief, of course, he goes, but he's coming. He's still on his way. We have other business obligations. We can't leave yet. And I thought that was a brilliant marketing strategy to announce that The Rock is coming out. And Paul Heyman pretty much says he's coming out after the break. Right after the break, as soon as we come back from commercial break, If You Smell hits. And I really think he needs new entrance music for his new character that he's got right now. But he appears, the great one, The Rock, is there with a different color shirt this time, and it definitely nice. Rock is there, and it's his new Bloodline shirt, I'm sure. I think on the back there was an image, I believe it was an image of a finger pointing up. I can't be sure. It was very quick. And I was taking notes at the time, so I didn't see it, but they zoomed in on the back of it. I believe it was a Bloodline symbol. Rock is, of course, taking his time coming out because we're 20 minutes past the hour at this point, and we're still waiting on him to say anything. He poses on both turnbuckles in the corner, and the fans are treating him pretty much like they treated Stone Cold Steve Austin when he was a member of the Alliance. We don't want to boo you, but we're going to boo you to be along with the show. And then the other part cheering them. That's how Austin got treated back in 2001, and that's how The Rock was treated tonight in 2024. Roman Reigns looks rather annoyed with all this happening, planting seeds already likely for next year. Rock lifts the people's eyebrow. I liked that. It reminded me of his old self a little bit more. He didn't do the people's eyebrow last week, 2 weeks ago when he was last on. He didn't do the eyebrow, and there's a lot of talk on Twitter about how The Rock has lost it. Well, I hope that theory about The Rock losing it was put to bed tonight, because The Rock really brought it, and I thought he might not be in his Hollywood 2003 Hollywood Rock vintage prime or his corporate Rock in 1999 prime, but he's still good, and he's still damn well better than anybody on the roster. He makes Roman Reigns look like an amateur, and Roman Reigns is the best promo in the business right now outside The Rock. So it really shows, and in my opinion, he raised that eyebrow up to show that he's still got some of that old vintage Rock in him. Rock says he's got some gospel. He's got some good news to share. The Rock says he's got news you might be proud of. Apparently, Glendale is 10 miles from Phoenix. Rock says it is the #1 city for cocaine and meth use is Phoenix, Arizona. And then everyone laughs. Rock says, finally, your life has meaning. That's apparently going to be his new intro, which is great. When he said it the first time, I thought it was funny. And then he says, finally, The Rock has come back to Glendale. The Rock says he's in a good mood. Soul's in a good mood. You wouldn't know it once again, but professional wrestling is cool. And the electrifying man, once again, because of The Rock and the bloodline. You know what's not cool, The Rock says? Your hero, Cody Rhodes. You want to challenge The Rock? You want to go one-on-one with the great one? Well, here's The Rock's answer, and that's no. And everybody is all booing that he turned down Cody's advances, and The Rock runs down Cody Rhodes for a good reason. He said, why challenge The Rock if you're in the Mania main event already? Good point. Why challenge The Rock if you're already on the main event challenging Roman Reigns? This storyline has had ups and downs and curves, but that actually is somewhat logical. Why would you do that? That's a good question. The Rock says no to his offer, but he says, here's the counter offer. Rock says, how about this? On night 1 of WrestleMania, the biggest tag team match in the history of WWE. Cody and Seth versus The Rock and Roman. We all saw that coming. The Rock and Roman could beat the piss out of you. If Cody and Seth beat The Rock and Roman, then he's got a shot to beat Roman with no bloodline. That's an interesting proposition. That makes this exciting to me. But there's always a but. The Rock says there's always a but. And he says, but if you lose to The Rock and Roman, or when you lose to The Rock and Roman, he says, it'll be a no DQ match, and Bloodline can do everything. A Bloodline rules match. He says, Jimmy can interfere, Roman can get help, Solo can sing the national anthem, and then they zoom in on Solo, who's got the most serious looking face, and everybody in the crowd laughs. And The Rock even had to point out how funny his joke was. And The Rock says next week in Dallas, The Rock wants your answer, and then he says he sits at the board, and The Rock, he says he wants your answers, and then The Rock says, if you smell, and then Roman stops him as everybody goes, oh, and a holy shit chant starts. Heyman's got a look on his face like, what on earth did you just do? Heyman's facial expressions are brilliant. Rock is interrupted, and Roman says, I need something from you. I do. I just need it for my family. I'll do anything for my family, but I need this one thing. Acknowledge me. And everybody ooh and ah, and The Rock gets serious. He stares at him. He's got a vein busting through his forehead. Rock takes off his shades. He gets very serious, and he says, my family, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you as my tribal chief, and puts his hand out to shake hands. Roman had like the most euphoric sigh of relief look on his face he's ever had. Fans chant, The Rock sold out. I thought The Rock was going to go, yeah, he's sold out every building he's ever been in. You know how The Rock always says that. Rock says, we will do anything for family. Now go home and smoke some more crack. If you smell. That was just an awesome exit line, too. With the bloodline. And then Roman takes the mic and goes, or Roman is given the mic, rather, by The Rock. And then Roman says, what the bloodline is cooking. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. This segment was great. It took us to the 40-minute mark, past the hour, which I don't think was the plan because the first match didn't even get entrances. But you give The Rock a live mic, magic happens. Even in 2024, it's great to see. The first match, as I said, didn't get entrances, but even today, he might not be in his 2003 Hollywood Rock prime, but he's still effective, still have the gift of gab. He can still be humorous on the spot like we saw with Solo. The jokes were great, and they landed in a major way. This also put Roman over in a big way. By Rock acknowledging him, literally acknowledging him. Rock even said in the segment the truth about his place on the board, which really helped the segment because it helps when you play on reality. It plays on what people actually know. That's when wrestling is at its best, when you go on real things and you just leech off of reality, and they did that here. So, amazing opening segment, but would we expect anything less from The Rock? I do question, though, this tag match. That would put Drew and Seth on night 2. So night 2 would be given 2 world title matches for the men. That's a little suspect, but at the same time, you're exchanging that for a Rock match, right? You either, I'm going to say everybody will want to go to night 2, but then again, The Rock's on night 1. So The Rock being on night 1 cancels out the effect of night 2 having 2 world title matches, in my opinion, and I think that's how the WWE sees things too. They're thinking, okay, well, night 1 has The Rock in the main event. Night 2 might have 2 world title matches, but night 1 has The Rock. So I think that evens it out a little bit. And I think that's what they think as well. I could do without Seth in the match. I'm not a big fan of the guy, but I love The Rock calling him a walking clown emoji. That was great. Look at you can tell that promo was lengthy. I'm 10 minutes into my review, and I didn't beat around the bush or anything, and we've still just been on the opening segment, which ran, I believe the promo went 21 minutes. From the beginning of when they started to speak on the microphone. It went much longer if you include entrances and all that. Backstage, they cut LA Knight. So that's The Rock. Before I go to the backstage, that's The Rock segment on the show. And like I say, it wasn't anything earth-shattering, but it was at the same time, it set up WrestleMania main event. It made us laugh. It showed character progression. He acknowledged Roman. He made jokes about Seth and Solo. They have that new cool catchphrase where Roman says what the bloodline is cooking. A lot of good things there. So that was good for the Rock segment. LA Knight asks Grayson and Austin if they've seen AJ Styles because he has a beef with them, and the fans pop when and LA Knight popped up on the screen. Then Austin Theory and Grayson Waller were on their phone laughing about Orton being beat up. Orton then gets behind them and says, you know what's funny? It's hilarious. Orton says, I've never seen anything so funny. But you know what would be even funnier is if they picked one of the duo to go up against Orton tonight. Waller then picks Theory. And then Theory gets a little bit mad and then Waller says, no, you should be ecstatic. You're going one-on-one with Orton. That will elevate you. So then it cuts out. Corey Graves and Bad News Bear to the broadcasters. On SmackDown, we get to our first match. Tiffany Stratton takes on Naomi. They didn't get entrances because of everything that's been the first 40-minute opening segment. I say the promo lasted 21 minutes, but we literally went to 5:40, 5 my time. That's when SmackDown starts. So 40 minutes past the hour, I'll say, because it might not be 5 for you. So 40 minutes past the top of the hour where SmackDown started, and we get our first match, and it's Tiffany Stratton against Naomi. 2 ladies that were in the chamber. They complained about Tiffany's rating of 79 on WWE 2K24. They don't understand that when you're a newcomer, you have to have a lower rating. So maybe not 79 low, but still, you need a lower rating. They think that's bad. They should look at Theory's 72 rating. Anyway, Naomi with a dropkick to Stratton in the corner at a near fall. Huge facebuster by Naomi off the ropes. These 2 ladies were mega impressive athletically in there to the canvas by doing a springboard, then an X Factor of sorts as she does the splits on the mat while bringing her down. Did Naomi to Tiffany Stratton. Back to the match after a commercial break. Stratton is doing all sorts of gymnastics to Naomi. A double stomp to Naomi. He gets a near fall. Naomi spears her, and it's a face buster, this time on the apron. Stratton kicks out, though. Corey Graves was sure that was going to be all. Stratton with a slap and Naomi with one back, and they exchange rights with a big slugfest in the middle of the ring. A spine buster by Stratton to Naomi, who survives and kicks out. Stratton slams Naomi to the ring post, shoulder first. Naomi comes off with the prettiest moonsault ever. That does the trick for the match. I rate it 2.5 stars. Stratton gets the win. So this is why I talked about the rating, because if Naomi loses to this is why they talked about the rating of Tiffany Stratton being a 79, because if Naomi loses to a 79 rating, what the rating does that make Naomi? I mean, you know what I mean? But both ladies put an impressive performance in there. So it's understood why they talked about the rating, because they're like, we just have our 79 rating lady here, and we're going to make this lady lose to the 79 rated lady. So we got to talk about how that rating of 79 is very low. It's a way to protect Naomi and protect Stratton in this process. They do a video package on Bayley in her program with Io Sky leading up to the match about the Kabuki Warriors versus Bayley and Dakota Kai, and we see why they showed the video after the match. We saw why. For new fans that have just tuned in because of The Rock, maybe, and they want to continue watching the show, and they don't know the history of Bayley and Io, that's one reason. The second reason was what happens at the end of the match. Why we see the build-up as we get a major plot twist, maybe not major, but it was a plot twist in this Bayley Io story. So that was a quick hour of WWE TV I wrote in my notes. We kicked this match off at the beginning of the second hour. Bayley needs a hot tag as the Warriors run her down, and right when Bayley's about to make the hot tag as she's getting beaten down this whole match, Dakota Kai jumps off the apron as the crowd ooh and ah, and she reveals herself as a part of Damage Control. I always thought that she wasn't, when she promised to be not on Damage Control side, I always thought that was a little bit iffy. At least with the Kabuki Warriors, if not in Damage Control, Dakota Kai is. Bayley is mad that she trusted Kai. You can see it on her face as she shakes her head. And she fights for survival on the outside. The numbers game, she speared Dakota Kai on the outside into the barricade. The fans cheered. And then the Kabuki Warriors came up and beat her up. The numbers game being too strong. It was 3-on-1. Now Kai slaps at Bayley, and then Sky with a double leg kick to Bayley to end it as she lifts up her title. And Damage Control stands strong. The match ends in a no contest. I rated the match 2 stars, but Damage Control walk away the stronger, and Bayley down and out. Next match, Braun Breaker versus Zion Quinn. Breaker barking like Rick Steiner to the ring. And that's the debut. All you need is to book squash matches. Too many times, like, why couldn't Tiffany Stratton have beaten a lady from NXT? Why did she have to beat Naomi? Oh, that does nothing for Naomi. So that's what you get when you get Braun Breaker versus Zion Quinn. We know Breaker's going to win, and we know it's going to make him look good. I didn't know it was going to make him look this good because he wins in 5 seconds. Literally 5 seconds after a spear. So I gave the match a 1/4 star. I don't like giving out duds, and I don't think that was a dud anyway. It built up Braun Breaker, so that's a 1/4. You get a 1/4 rating of a star for me. Santos Escobar took on Carlito. Carlito throws Santos to the outside. It's a street fight. Fans chant for tables. They mentioned Carlito being brought up in an era with Abdullah the Butcher and Bruiser Brody and all those guys backstage. They ask for tables, and the fans pop as we get the tables. Escobar into the steps. The fans chant for an apple, and I actually got one. Ray ended up coming back on crutches after the LWO battled it out. Ray went nuts with the crutch as the Hall of Famer teed off on Legado del Fantasma, stared at Santos one-on-one. Carlito gets the victory in the end when Ray returned to win, and Carlito won the street fight. Ray returned was the big news as he came out on crutches and had that one-on-one look with Santos Escobar. Mysterio, the Hall of Famer. We figured that Mysterio would return to make a WrestleMania program, a match with Santos, as it has the history. And Carlito versus Santos is a match that we've seen before, so we're not going to get that at WrestleMania. We figured we'd get Mysterio, and that's the way it's looking right now, if he's healed, which he should be. Or else, what's the point of having him come back and doing this build for? They do a backstage segment with LA Knight wanting AJ Styles some more. LA Knight gets a good promo. Kevin Owens enters, then does commentary for the main event match. Austin Theory takes on Randy Orton. Orton dominated early and often with 10 blows up above. A side suplex onto the announce table, which Kevin Owens likes. Back from the break, Theory pivoted in midair with a blockbuster attempt, but Orton still delivered a suplex. It was one of these midair counters that was great. They show Theory's rating of 72 in the game, and that is one he should be mad about, legit. Orton with a power slam off the ropes. Orton with a side suplex to Austin Theory. Fans chant one more time, and he does it to Grayson Waller. Owens is loving it on commentary. Austin Theory is DDT'd from the canvas on the middle rope. Orton goes down for the RKO, but Theory shoves him out into the ring post. Orton with a fall-away slam, and then a blockbuster, and Orton kicked out. Theory with a shot to the throat, a right hand, and Orton kicks out. Barrett on commentary said Theory could run this company for the next 20 years, and Owens says let's not get carried away. That was golden because it's true. He can't carry it for 20 years. He's not John Cena like I've seen said in the community. He's good, though. He does get RKO'd in a special way out of nowhere, though, and that leads to Orton's pinfall victory. I rated the match 2.5 stars. After the match, Waller drops him, and Owens evens the odds out by doing a double stomp as Theory came in to protect him. That does it for the match portion of the show. After the match, a stunner to Theory, then an RKO to Waller as Waller pushed away the Kevin Owens as he didn't want a stunner, but he got locked into the RKO right when that happened. Owens and Orton look at each other as if they were bonded by a common enemy. That was a good call by Graves. A show of mutual respect. Waller was able to escape the stunner attempt, but found himself right in store for the RKO. Graves says, what a night on SmackDown, as Logan Paul will be in Dallas next week on SmackDown, as will The Rock. And you got to think Cody Rhodes, too. This show overall, I rated a 6 out of 10. A night of decent matches. I think it overall did what it wanted to. Mysterio's return, Dakota Kai's turn. It built towards Mania, giving us our night 1 main event, and they made the tag match matter with those stipulations. Without those stipulations, I don't care as much about the tag match. Rollins, while I'm annoyed with him, at least he can pull off a great match. So there's that to look forward to. And clearly that this is happening. It's clearly they're going to not make this tag match something else. Clearly this is where the direction they're going in. So Cody will likely be on next week to answer The Rock, a show where The Rock is going to be on. He's going to be on next week's show and the week after. And it's going to be must-see television, just like tonight was with The Rock's appearance. I don't know if wrestling's cool again, legitimately, but at least there's that feeling of we got to see the next show that there was back in the Attitude Era. We have that feeling about SmackDown right now, and that's all we can ask for at the end of the day. So that was SmackDown for March 1st, 2024 from Glendale, Arizona. Great appearance by The Rock. Strong appearance by The Bloodline. We get our WrestleMania main event, and other WrestleMania seeds are planted. That's all we could ask for. I gave the show a 6 out of 10. Please follow my channel. Hit like and subscribe. I do Monday Night Nitro, Monday Night Raw reviews from the Attitude Era. We're getting into the Attitude Era now, and I keep them saved. So whenever you want to relive the Monday Night Wars, they're there on the channel for that. Plus, I stick up to date with everything in the WWE, including reviews like tonight. So hit subscribe and leave the video a like too if you've made it this far. I'm Brett Mix for the SmackDown review. Thanks for watching. I'm out.